or you can go on to crewclassic.org/results to find out the official results, because that one was too close to call.
Yes, and all three of those crews were battling for a position in the petite final, because only 3 and 4 went to the petite.
Follow the wind through my nose. I feel the sand between my toes.
You know when everything just flows?
Happiness is calling me.
San Diego feels just like that.
I follow the wind through my nose. I feel the sand between my toes.
You know when everything just flows?
Happiness is calling me.
San Diego feels just like that.
At the start now, event number 24, women's collegiate second varsity heat C. Lane 1, University of Southern California. Lane 2, University of Washington. Lane 3, Duke University. 4, University of San Diego. 5, Loyola Marymount. And 6, Bates College. Out of the start, it's the University of Washington, the Huskies, taking the early lead over the University of Southern California. University of Washington rowing in lane 2. USC is in lane 1. Duke University right in the mix of things for those first two positions in lane 3. And then it's pretty much University of San Diego, followed by Loyola Marymount, and Bates College battling ferociously for that 5th spot. 300 meters down now, University of Washington and Virginia having a good tussle over there, with Duke University holding that 3rd spot. And then it's University of San Diego, Loyola Marymount, and Bates College. Southern California rowing a bit lower than Washington. Coxon looks over, checking to see that they're probably about 2 seats up on the University of Washington. It seems to be about a stroke or 2 higher as the crews approach the 500-meter mark. So in event number 24, race leading right now is University of Southern California in lane 1, followed by University of Washington in lane 2. Duke University is in 3rd in lane 3. University of San Diego in 4th spot in lane 4. Then a tight battle between Loyola Marymount in lane 5 and Bates College in lane 6. That's the call at 600 meters.
The women's collegiate second varsity, and this is the 3rd of the 3 heats in this particular area. So the first 2 boats will go through, and then the second 2 will go to the petite final. This is event number 24, lane assignments, and our current leader, University of Southern California, USC in lane number 1. Washington challenging for the lead in lane number 2. Washington was first off the stake boats, but gave way to USC shortly thereafter. Followed by Duke in lane number 3. University of San Diego is stroking out of lane number 4. In lane number 5, it is Loyola Marymount, and Bates College from Lewiston, Maine, here enjoying the day, but not enjoying their position at this time, as they are in the 6th spot. We've had the reference a couple of times, sculling to the bow. And Patty, maybe while these crews are coming down the course, you might explain to folks who are new to us what that means.
Yes, well, it's really quite interesting because the boats are so long. When you have a crosswind or a cross current, the boats are held by the stern, so they swing like a needle on a compass. And to keep their bows into the wind or keep them straight, one of the rowers will pass their oar forward to the rower in front of them, and they will tap the blade right next to the boat. And you can only imagine how stressful that is for the coxswain and the rowers, but it's the only thing that you can do. So the goal is to pass it back quickly before you lose your point, before they say go.
University of Southern California very slightly ahead of Washington as we have a real battle here for first position in this one. University of San Diego has moved up on Duke, and then to the outside, Bates College has gotten the measure of Loyola Marymount to this point as they come down to 1,250 meters gone in this race, 750 to go on our 2,000 meter course stretching from the Sky Ride at SeaWorld all the way down to the east shore here of Crown Point as USC kind of takes a jog into the shoreline, and that may cost them as Washington took advantage of the course correction there and have moved up to challenge USC even more than they had before. There's a slight amount of open water back to the University of San Diego and Duke going bow marker to bow marker. And then all the way on the outside, Bates is beginning to insert themselves into the possibility of moving on to the petite final, and Loyola Marymount is trailing. As they approach 500 meters to go in this race, it is USC struggling a bit. Once again, they come crosswise, not quite as radically as we saw earlier, but they do kind of course correct once again as Washington stays with them, but USC has not lost that first position to this point. USD trying to hang on against a charge against them by Duke, and then to the outside it's Bates, and the Loyola Marymount crew is trailing.
Washington is really trying to take this race to USC. USC is cruising along at 33-34. We've seen the strength of their crews earlier, and Washington has stepped it up to 28-38 to try to close that. That's 38 strokes a minute. That's less than, I mean, that is fast, especially that early. Normally you'd kick it up in the last 250, but if you're not ahead, sometimes you just have to take it up when you can and go for it.
Here they come with 250 to go, and Washington on the challenge, but USC clinging to the lead. They are on the shoreline. They have open water back to now. It appears that Duke may have gotten back into it against USD, and on the far outside it is Bates College and Loyola Marymount. And again they ratchet up. USC to 39 as they're trying to hold off Washington, and it looks like it's successful as Washington really catches it and they lose an oar. The young lady is trying to get the oar out of the water and is having a terrible time doing it, and they are almost dead in the water for catching a crab and losing the oar. They are now rowing with only 7 rowers, still trying to hang on as USC runs away and hides. An unfortunate turn of events for the Washington crew as they were driving and struggling to try to get into it, and right about 100 meters to go, something happened with the, what is that, the 5-seat?
4th seat.
4th seat. Ran into a problem there and lost her oar as Duke has taken and held off the University of San Diego apparently for that 3rd position, but those two will move forward to the petite. Fortunately, Washington and USC had enough of a lead in the race that Washington was able to hang on and finish in that 2nd position, so they will live to ride another day, so to speak, and compete in the grand final.
Not to cut you off, but the crazy thing about that was just before that happened, USC's 4th seat had a little bobble, and she lost a stroke, she almost caught a crab, and I was just getting ready to point that out, and whoa, Washington did it. Yeah.
Looking at the replay here, we'll see if we can't catch it. Patty, talk about it.
Well, yes, as we're coming up here, you'll just notice that the 4th seat gets a little bit out of rhythm as she catches her oar just before we get to the big tent. It's a little bit out of rhythm there, and but Washington, you can see the 4th seat has stopped rowing while she tries to get her oar out, and that is very hard to twist it out once you have the momentum of the boat catching it. I think she ultimately took it out of the gate, the oar lock, to pull it.
2 minutes